Today on Mother Mayhem, we want you holding on to the hard parts of your trauma and your story with the healing parts of your trauma and your story. We want to help you hold both, honoring your truth and your story while also acknowledging and making room for the idea that there is more to you, more to your life, and more to your story than your trauma. Welcome back to Mother Mayhem, the narcissistic abuse recovery podcast for daughters. Hi, I'm your host, Heather Gray. I just wanted to pop into your podcast player app real quick to assure you that I haven't forgotten about you in this holiday season. Congratulations on making it through Christmas and Hanukkah. Those of you navigating Kwanzaa, on the other hand, you're still probably managing your mothers and you have a few more days to go. The Mother Mayhem community is in it with you and thinking of you. Now, you guys know Clark, my podcast editor. Sometime this summer, she mentioned to me that I should be thinking ahead about the holidays and planning for holiday episodes. She's good like that. She always has my back, and I agreed with her. I then promptly followed this up with, I am for sure down with a holiday survival guide for our ladies, but you better not make me do a whole goddamn episode on New Year, New You, because I fucking hate that shit. Our ladies are going to be Daughters of Narcissistic Mothers on the 31st of December, and that doesn't just magically go away because the clock turns to January 1st, and I cannot be another voice that contributes to that noise. I really showed her, didn't I? Because my God, I hate the noise. I hate the pressure. And I am actually someone who does set New Year's resolutions. Now, I am loath to admit it, I have to tell you, but I have also set defined intentions around words of the year. And oh my God, that makes me vomit in my mouth a little bit. But in 2023, I decided to listen to whispers. I was on a professional path that was leading me nowhere good and nowhere fulfilling. And I was so helplessly lost. And I got out of it and I got off the path. I started a new one. I opened a new therapy practice and I started this show. And holy heck, did some really cool things come from it. I can't quite get over it even now that I'm talking to all of you, and I know that you're in like 26 different countries according to Spotify. I know that I am right where I'm supposed to be, doing what I am supposed to be doing, all because I listened to the whispers. For 2024, I am open to more. And I want to lean on my truth because 2023 gave me more opportunities for my truth to both be questioned and asserted. More opportunities, by the way, than I care to admit, but not once did my truth fail me. Not even in the hardest times or through some pretty big heartbreaks. I had my truth and it got me through. Now, I don't know if you need a word. You're probably not word people either, or maybe you are. And maybe you don't need a resolution. I don't know. You might not. But you might be finding yourself being shamed, blamed, or you might be shoulded all over the place right now. And I am not looking to be one more person who does that. Here's something I also know. If you are looking for a frame for your new year, if you are looking for a path forward, I want it to be my voice that you hear. I've come to believe that I've earned the trust of a lot of you listening. You rely on me, this show, this community, and it is my privilege and it is my honor, but shoot, it is also my responsibility. Passing you off to someone else just because I didn't want to contribute to the noise, that can't possibly be the answer. It doesn't really feel right. It doesn't sit right with me. So here's what I want you to know. Fuck the bullshit. If you are reading someone's messaging and they are making you feel like shit, unfollow. If I am making you feel like shit, please unfollow me. If you're good with where you're at, you like your life just fine, and you have no reason to change, don't freaking change just because the date on the calendar added a new year to it. If you have a way of navigating this whole new year that is already working for you and you don't need any new tricks, please don't go looking for more. If you're all set with hearing about your trauma these days, admittedly, gotta tell you, it might not be the podcast for you, but it's also okay to take a break and just look away for a bit. You just got through the holidays. You just spent a season going through triggers and memories. You can take a beat. You can take a break. You can look away from your trauma for just a bit. And you do not, I promise you, have to lead with it into the new year if you don't want to. You can focus on so many other parts of you. Remember things that we've talked about on the show already. You can get clear on who you want to be, how you want to move through the world, how you want to make decisions about your new year. And you can do it from that place of who you want to be and how you want to move through the world. You can take a second and reflect on helpful tools and strategies you may have already picked up from the show and use those as the guidebook and the touchstone to get you through the year. You can think about a word. You can consider a resolution. I would urge you to take stock of your relationship with yourself and with others. And when I say others, I am not talking about your mother. In fact, I want you to notice my language here. I haven't even mentioned your mother in this conversation because there is absolutely no freaking way why we might have to lead the new year talking about your mom. We want to lead the year talking about you, building your relationship with yourself, building your relationship with other people. And of course, that has to come from healing your narcissistic abuse. But we heal your narcissistic abuse by helping you build a better relationship with yourself and by helping you have better relationships with other people. Those are the things that are going to support you when you're really navigating those hard feelings, when you're dealing with your trauma brain and you're learning to navigate relationships with your moms in new ways. That, my friends, is the secret sauce. It isn't about your mom. It's about you. And we want the new year to be about you. We just want the new year, new you bullshit to take a little bit of a hike because it doesn't belong here. We are working on something that the psychobabble world would call integration. We want you holding on to the hard parts of your trauma and your story with the healing parts of your trauma and your story. We want to help you hold both, honoring your truth and your story while also acknowledging and making room for the idea that there is more to you, more to your life, and more to your story than your trauma. I really honestly believe that. That is one of the reasons why I got on the mic and started this show in the first place. Pithy words of the year or pithy resolutions, like, of course they can help. But ultimately, it's your voice we want to be hearing. That is how I want to help you navigate the new year. If you'll indulge me for a second, I've got a quick story for you. Back in 2012 or 2013, maybe, I was a general therapist with a generalized practice. I wasn't specializing in anything. And if I'm really honest, I wasn't actually doing anything that particularly special. But I read the book Daring Greatly by Brene Brown, and I heard my first whisper. The whisper told me that maybe I could extend the impact I was making to beyond my own little office in Wakefield, Massachusetts. I dared to believe that there was more. Brene preached, and I listened as she reminded us of an old Teddy Roosevelt quote. And again, indulge me while I read it to you too. It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs and comes up short again and again, because there is no effort without error or shortcoming. But who knows the great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at best knows, in the end, the triumph of high achievement, and who, at worst, if he fails, at least he fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who know neither victory nor defeat. Now, that was a quote from back in 1910, but hearing it from Renee with her context, it set me on my own daring greatly path. And then, friends, I promptly got lost. So incredibly lost. 3 years later, thank goodness, she came out with Rising Strong. There, she shared a manifesto that still makes me cry a little bit. And I hope it's okay if I also take a second and read that to you now as well. There is no greater threat to the critics and cynics and fear-mongers than those of us who are willing to fall because we have learned how to rise. With skinned knees and bruised hearts, we choose owning our stories of struggle over hiding, over hustling, over pretending. When we deny our stories, they define us. When we run from struggle, we are never free. So we run toward truth and we look it in the eye. We will not be characters in our stories, not villains, not victims, not even heroes. We are the authors of our lives. We write our own daring endings. We craft love from heartbreak, compassion from shame, grace from disappointment, courage from failure. Showing up is our power. Story is our way home. Truth is our song. We are the brave and the brokenhearted. We are rising strong. Gosh, I read these words and I still feel them. And I remember when I first found these words, I wanted to own them. And I really wanted to own them because I was so incredibly lost. And I came across these words again right at the start of the year when I was just reopening this practice and before this podcast was even something I considered. And her words just struck me all over again. Showing up is our power. Story is our way home. Truth is our song. We are the brave and brokenhearted, and we are rising strong. I hope it's a little clearer to you now, friends, that is what I've been trying to help all of you do this entire time. Rise strong. That's what I believe can happen with true healing from narcissistic abuse. And if there was ever a New Year's message that I could get behind, it would be rising strong. However, she probably has that one trademarked, and I don't want to just send you off to read the book. I want to partner with you. That's how I've always come to see this show. You are the experts on you and your story, and I bring the expertise in healing from complex trauma, the mother wounds, and narcissistic abuse. And when I say I'm in it with you, that is what I mean. In it with you. Partnering with you on the path. That's how I encourage all of you to consider yourselves, your story, and your new year. And now I want to extend an invitation. You want to slide into my Zoom room? I can't say that with a straight face. I told Clark that's how I was going to invite you guys in. And she's like, yeah, sure, go for it. And I was like, I'm not going to be able to do that one with a straight face. And I totally cannot do it with a straight face. But alas, I am asking, do you want to slide into my Zoom room, friends? You heard me mention this in the last episode. I am hosting a workshop for the Mother Mayhem listening community. Our first one, so the mileage on it might vary, but I'm going to lean very heavily on done is better than perfect. So here's what it looks like. I'm going to host a 2-hour Zoom room call on January 3rd at 10:30 in the morning to 12:30 in the afternoon Pacific Standard Time. This call is going to be open to the first 100 people who sign up. Anyone who signs up for that call is also going to be sent a replay of the recorded session. Anyone who can't make the call but wants to listen in on the recorded session is also going to be invited to do so. The cost for both is going to be $25 US dollars. I know I have people listening to me internationally now. I'm basing the price on the copay for a 1-hour therapy session in the US because that feels fair to me. I also want you to invest in yourselves a little bit. I think there is something to be said for pay to play. And when you put money on something and you invest in yourselves, you're more likely to follow up on the tools and strategies I offer you on the other side. Here's what it's going to look like. I'm going to do my take on framing the whole healing journey for the new year. I'm calling our little gathering the No Nonsense New Year Healing Strategy Workshop for Daughters of Narcissistic Mothers. Honestly, you might have heard me say this last week or 2 weeks ago when we did our last episode. I wanted to call it the No Bullshit New Year, but I didn't think I needed to bring that level of heat and sass right out of the gate into 2024. I think I need to save some room for later. I'm going to start the call with strategies you can use for structuring your recovery in the coming year, but it is not going to be my intention to take up too much of your time with that because I could just do that as a podcast episode, right? What I really want to do then is open the floor to your questions about the topic or anything else you might want to get my coaching on or from or feedback as you look to continue your own healing in the new year. If that sounds good to you, you are going to find the links for both options, the live call or the replay in the show notes. Coming up in future episodes, we're going to be back to digging into trauma and how to heal. Sometimes your mom isn't going to be the worst thing to have happened to you, and healing from more after a childhood marred by neglect can really complicate healing and recovery. I'm always going to have the hard conversations with you. I will always hold your truth. I will work hard to tell you the truth and to do right by you in the new year. If you want to start gently with all of this, find me on January 3rd. Otherwise, hold tight because I'm going to be coming back soon with more Mother Mayhem. You have women around the world who are entering this new year with you, and I am too. Bye for now. I'm so grateful that you're here. You're right where you're supposed to be. At its heart, I'm hoping to use this show to build a community of women working together to heal from childhoods marked by maternal narcissism and emotional neglect. My goal for Mother Mayhem is that this show becomes an advice and mentoring-driven show where you share your questions, struggles, and stories, and I offer you direction for healing and recovery. That can't happen without your contributions. I invite you to send a recorded voice memo or write in an email with your questions and things you're struggling with. You can always find me over at heather@daughtersnpd.com. To connect further, I invite you to find me over at Instagram and occasionally on TikTok at DaughtersNPD. If you know another woman who needs this conversation in her life, I'm going to ask that you share the show with her. You can help me get the word out with your reviews and social shares of the show, and I hope you'll consider doing so. Special thanks to Heather Clark for editing this show. She's in my head and knows what I meant to say when the words come out backwards. Thanks for your time today. I'm always in it with you. Bye for now.